This begins Chapter 3, Lesson 5, dealing with draw a picture strategy for problem solving. But before we get into that, I would like for you to pause the video, take time to solve these 6 problems, and see how much you remember from yesterday's lesson. Remember, if you pause the video and solve it, you're going to get more out of it than if you just wait for me to tell you the answers. Alright, so 47, let's check your work. 47 times 6 is 282. 67 times 3 is 201. 8 times 63 is 504. 4 times 321 is 1,284. 765 times 3 is 2,295. And 609 times 6 is 3,654. So if you struggled with completing this assignment, you need to let me know, and I can just kind of double check and touch base with you and see on how you're doing. So for today, we're going to do drawing a picture to solve problems. So the example in your book, it says, for the school carnival, the 5th grade is putting game booths in the school parking lot. Each game booth is 7 feet wide and must be 5 feet from the next booth. The booth at each end must be at least 10 feet from the end of the parking lot. The parking lot is 82 feet long. Find the greatest number of game booths they can have. So we know from here to here, this is the parking lot, is 82 feet. And we know that we have to have at least 10 feet on each side. And we have to have 10 feet on this side. You know, each booth is 7 feet and must have 5 feet in between. So when we go through and figure this, we have to figure out how many booths we can put in the middle. So right now, I know I have 82 feet altogether, and I need 10 feet on each side of the booth. So really, this gives me 72, and then we're going to take away another 10. I really have 62 feet to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a picture. So I know right away I'm going to have a booth, and that's 7 feet on this side. I'm going to have a booth over here. That's 7 feet on this side. So now all of a sudden I am working with, I'm just going to take away 14 feet. I'm going to take away 14 feet, and that gives me 48 feet left to work with. So I did my booths, and now I need to do my space in between my booth, which is 5 feet, and another 5 feet. So now I take away another 10 feet, and I have 38 feet. Then I go ahead and put in another booth each, and this is another 7, and another 7. And so now I'm going to take away another 14 feet, and I am left with 24 feet. Sorry, I'm running out of space over here. And so I need another 5 feet on this side, and another 5 feet on this side. Now that leaves me with 14 feet. And so I'm just going to put another booth in the middle here. That gives me 7 feet. Oh, and my pen did not finish drying. So, and I'm left with 7 feet. I can't put any more. space. I can't put another booth, I can't, because I don't have another 5 feet to do it with. So in this 82-foot parking lot, I can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 booths. That's the number of booths that can go in there. So the next thing I want to show you is, go over here, I want to show you this, and see if I got my volume up high enough so you guys can hear.
Hi, this is Mr. Smith. In the following problem, we're going to draw a picture to solve. Joan has several potted plants that are 9 inches wide. She wants to plant them in a row of her garden with 5 inches between each plant. The plants on each end should be at least 5 inches from the edges of the garden. What is the greatest number of plants Joan can have in a garden that is 96 inches wide? Okay, let's draw a picture to solve this problem. First of all, I'm going to, that's what I want right there. The total length of her garden is going to be 96 inches. Let's look in our problem and find clues that will tell us how we should construct our picture. It says that she has several potted plants that are 9 inches wide. So the potted plants are 9 inches. Okay. She wants to plant them in a row of her garden with 5 inches between each plant. Alright? The plants on each end should be at least 5 inches from the edge of the garden. So on each side of our garden, the right and left side, we need to leave 5 inches. And of course we need to find the greatest number of plants that she can have in her garden. Okay, the total length is going to be 96 inches. Here. I'm going to start with this clue here. It says 5 inches from the edges of the garden. So here's one edge, here's the other edge. If we measure in 5 inches, from there, the left side, and 5 inches in from the right side. Okay. It also says that the potted plants are 9 inches wide. So now I'm going to start planting the potted plants. So after 5 inches in, we have a potted plant. I'm going to put a 9 in there to signify 9 inches. And there are 5 inches between each plant. So we're going to go across the whole edge of the garden, leaving 5 inches between each. And after every 5 inches, we're going to plant a new plant. And each plant takes up 9 inches. Now I also want to keep track of how much room am I using, because the garden is only going to be 96 inches long. So 5 plus 9, so far I've used 14 inches. Another 5 inches, another potted plant, that's another 14 inches. So I want to keep in mind exactly how far am I moving across and how much space I'm taking up. Another potted plant will be 5 inches. I'm sorry, the space is 5 inches. Now we're ready for another potted plant, which takes up 9 inches. There's another 14 inches. Another 5 inches of space between the plants. Let's plant another one. 9 inches. So before I get too ahead of myself, let's see exactly how much space have we taken up. 14 plus 14 is 28, plus 2 more 14s. 14 plus 14 is 28. So far I've taken up 56 inches. And keep in mind, we only have 96 inches to work with. So we can still put in some more plants. Another 5 inches. Oops, I forgot to put that one there. And let's plant another plant. And that would be another 14 inches. So we're getting close. So I'm going to keep on adding as I go along. 56 plus 14 is 70 inches. Alright, we have room for another one. There's the 5-inch space. Let's plant another plant. Takes up 9 inches. And we've covered 14 more inches. 70 plus the additional 14 inches equals 84 inches. Ooh, I'm getting close now. There are 96 inches, the total length, and we have 84. How much room do we have left? I'm going to take the 96 inches, the total length, and the length I've covered so far, which is 84 inches. I'm going to subtract to see how much space do I have left. It's 12 inches. Let's see, if I move in 5 inches, and plant another plant, will this fit? Oops. Add 14. 84 plus 14 is 98. Ooh. So we don't have room to add another plant. Plus, I went into my 5-inch zone, which I can't plant over in there. So after, we can't put this plant in there. There's not enough room. So, Joan can have a garden that is 96 inches wide. What is the greatest number of plants? The greatest number of plants that will fit in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plants. Will fit. Once again, the reason why I did not plant another plant is we have to have this 5 inches here. So we can't go in there because we have 5 inches on each side. So that only leaves, that only leaves 7 inches. And within 7 inches, I can't move over 5 inches and plant a 9-inch plant. So our answer is 6 plants will fit in her garden.
Alright, and hopefully between my example and Mr. Smith's example, you have a good understanding of what to do with your lesson. So this concludes your lesson.